But if I'm picking a mentor, I'm looking for someone who can give me purview outside of maybe my closest circles.
So how do you choose a mentor? Where do you want to grow?
Wait a second, in workplace, I get to pick my coach?
I call it the skip a level principle.
I think you really should be clear about what you want to learn in your mentorship.
We're going to talk about the 3 types of mentors.
You're listening to the Credit Union Leadership Podcast, a podcast that delivers value and offers up insight that'll help your credit union grow. ServiStar has been consulting with credit unions for over 20 years, growing them in the areas of cultural development, leadership development, and management training. To learn more about what ServiStar can do for you or your credit union, check them out at ServiStarConsulting.com.
Welcome to the Credit Union Leadership Podcast. You're here with Scott Anderley and
Scott Albrecht.
And today we're going to demystify mentorships. That's right. Today, we're going to really talk about how to pick the right mentor for you in your current stage of life. And then from that, we're going to zoom out. We're not just going to talk about what makes a great mentor and what can you take, but what can you give? We're also going to be talking about how to be a great mentee. So when you ask people, will you be my mentor? They don't roll their eyes and go, another one. But instead, they get excited to teach you, to help you grow because you are being a benefit to them and to the organization as well. And with this is going to put some structure on it that will help you grow. Now, what I'll say is we're not going to give you all the secrets. Why? We have a whole course that dives into this and gives you activities. That's part of our Emerging Leaders program. But Albrecht, let's just talk about the idea of mentorships and why we made this a course. What is Emerging Leaders is, I call it level 1 leadership. It's meant for rock star employees or people that just start off as leaders. Why is talking about mentorships, having an effective mentorship so important?
Well, every job needs a certain level of training, but to prepare and deepen your bench for tomorrow, there's skills and challenges that you just don't get today. And so one of the aspects that mentorships brings to an emerging leader is giving them access to maybe a book to read or to an exposure to a department to be able to get some of those skills that they wouldn't typically get outside of their own purview. The other one's empowerment. Listen, it's good to have an advocate in the organization looking out for you and letting you know how you are appearing as a perception to the rest of the leaders in the organization. And so giving that person extra stretch assignments, extra challenges in that mentorship to showcase to the rest of the leadership team, hey, this is someone that we value and that we're looking at for future opportunities is good. Plus, it's kind of a reward for good behavior. I'd say not everybody gets a mentorship. Mentorships are for those that are high performers, those that are meeting their minimum expectations. And so this should be a fun thing. This should be a good thing. This should be something that is a reward for you being listed as that shining star, that person that's rising up in the ranks and probably is going to run a credit union one day.
Man, so I'm hearing quite a few things of why mentorships are good for people. The first one is I heard it's empowerment. It's, hey, I can do this. It might be some skill, some new task that you've never done, but you have someone that says, yes, you can do this, and I'll be a resource to help you and guide you or get you in touch with the right people. So empowerment. The second thing I'm hearing you say is they're an advocate. So it's something you say all the time with me and Ryan Albrecht is, I want to put your name in lights. And what I'm hearing you is this advocate is someone that's going to put your name in lights to other departments, other leaders that may not know about your skill set or how you can help other departments or the credit union as a whole. And then the third thing I heard you say is that it might kind of go with empowerment a little bit, but it's almost like it's a reward. It's, hey, you've acknowledged the hard work I'm doing, and by spending time with me, guiding me along, you're going to help me process through things going on at work and how I could do this better. Is that right?
Yeah, a lot of employees are seeking recognition. A mentor helps you be seen. And in that of itself, being seen and feeling heard at work, it drives engagement.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a great place to stop before we go into the first round of office hours. So what I'll say so far, what we talked about, why mentorship matters, it's a safe space where you feel valued. It's also a place where you get perspective from someone else, someone that you might not work with all the time. It gives you visibility, it gives you acknowledgement, and it stretches you. So are we ready for office hours?
Oh, I'm ready for office hours. Let's bring it.
Office hours.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
And here we are, office hours, where we take what we teach in emerging leaders and Vertex and all this stuff, and we bring it to the real world, real life examples where we get not listeners, but we get questions from listeners, we get questions from participants, and we navigate how do you actually apply this stuff in the real world. So our first question, actually, Ryan, you're our producer. You're reading the questions. Read that first question we have.
All right, first up, should my boss be my mentor? What do you think?
Oh, snap. Well, I've had many bosses be my mentor over the years, but if I'm picking a mentor, I'm looking for someone who can give me purview outside of maybe my closest circle. So, somebody maybe one level above where my boss sits, might have exposure to different areas than my boss does. And the problem potentially of having your boss be your mentor is there might be a bias in the things that they're asking you to do, or a bias in the direction that they're sending you to selfishly keep you on the team for longer. Whereas if I'm looking for employee commitment and employee satisfaction, giving me a purview outside of my department, purview with a different set of skills or a different set of understanding, is something to look for in a mentorship. Meaning, it probably would be good if you're looking for someone who's operationally sound and your sales sound, to have that mix match of and contrast of skill sets so that you can learn from the other side. Or maybe you don't know much about HR, so partnering up with someone from HR for a mentorship. And so it really is to stretch you, to grow you. And so if you're too close to home, sometimes there's limits on that growth, and sometimes that growth can be directed in an area that would definitely benefit the team, but that's not the point of the mentorship.
Really good stuff. What I would just add to that is I call it the skip a level principle. Is typically is your immediate supervisor, boss, your mentor. Typically not. If they are, they're playing this role of what we call the coach type mentor, where they're helping push you to be the best version of yourself. And you've already talked about the reasons of why we may want to use the skip a level method when selecting somebody, because they're going to have a perspective outside. They're not as connected with that, and they may see a different side of you that you'd be able to do. I also love what you said about really getting a mentor. The skip a level method gives you perspective of how does everything work together. So if I work with someone operationally sound and I'm sales sound, well, I'm learning about, how do we fulfill the thing that I've sold on with that. Really, really good. Ryan, let's go to the next question.
All right, the next question is, how do I choose my mentor?
All right, so should my boss be my mentor? Now we're getting a little more specific. How do I choose my mentor? Well, we might get into a little Scott story right here. I remember working with a participant in one of our courses, and after the mentorship, we sat down and we did a one-on-one, and we talked about how do we apply this to your life. And what they were talking about is what I wanted to grow in my I thought this was humble and a fun way to say it. They said, I need to be taught how to think strategically. Not, you don't hear that all the time. They say, well, as a leader, as I'm growing, what I've realized is my leaders just expect me to think strategically, but I've never been trained or took a course or learned principles on how to do this. How do I do this? And so what we talked about is, how do you choose a mentor? Where do you want to grow? So I asked this question. All right, by the end of emerging leaders, all right, so by December, you want to be better at fill in the blank. And I said, strategic thinking. All right. And so we said, all right, how? So by December, I want to be better at strategic thinking because I got to be put in situations where I did strategic think, because I got to sit down, pick someone's brain that strategically thought. So after that, they started thinking, all right, who do I want to be my mentor? And let me skip a level. Let me think of other departments. And they thought, the VP of strategy. Let me reach out to them. And I said, hey, I want to grow in strategic thinking. This is what I think I could bring to the credit union. They were working in digital services. And the VP of strategy said, oh man, I could use you. So they started working together and started becoming a symbiotic relationship of, hey, you're teaching me how to strategically think, and I'm able to apply this in our digital services to help us reach more members, to help us be more effective for our members, to help our team as well. So how do you choose a mentor? Where do you want to grow? And you don't just say, I just want to develop in leadership. No. What's like a specific thing? I'll give one more story. I think, Albrecht, with you, you've been a mentor to me, and also another person that's been a mentor to me, I would say, would be Brianna Melling. And between both of y'all, Scott, you've taught me to be what I think is compared to how I was at first is a way better speaker. And you were using a lot of that coaching method. And I said, all right, by the end of this year, I want to be a better speaker. I want to be inspiring, but also equipping people with basic how to. And you really helped me do that, even with the coaching of catching the ums and focusing on what I'm saying. With Brianna, it was going to the other side. It was moving away from the speaking side, but more of the, how would you call it, organizational skills of how do I present my case? And then when do I bring an activity in? And all these things. So that's how I developed it. But I would say these mentorships have been a little more informal, where the story I shared with emerging leaders was more of a formal. Albrecht, I talked your ear off. What would you add to how do I choose?
Calling me a mentor. That means a lot. The first time on the podcast, hey, I'm a mentor, guys. That's pretty awesome. We're gonna make it more complicated for you. Why not? Why not? Blow their minds. Listen, man, how many of you had a coach growing up playing a sport? Probably some of you. Don't raise your hand. You're probably driving. Okay, all right. But like you probably had a coach. I'm guessing that coach is either your dad or your mom, or it was assigned to you. Wait a second. In workplace, I get to pick my coach? Listen, I'm looking at organizational success and profitability, baby. I'm going to go pick the most successful leader that there is to learn from. And guess what? If they are the most successful leader in our organization, I'm guessing there's a wait list. I'm guessing that they have other people they're mentoring. And so I want to look for space. Do they have space and time to commit to doing a mentorship? And I'm looking for interest. Is there a mutual interest in that mentorship? But yeah, I'm going for the winners because I get to pick my coach.
Awesome. Well, hey, we'll stop here. We're going to go to a word from our sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to give you a little tidbit from emerging leaders that we talk about, a little nugget of truth. And based on that nugget of truth, we're going to use that to anchor the rest of our answers. We'll hear from you after this.
Vertex Live nationwide is one of the most popular leadership training that's come out of ServiStar Consulting in the last 4 years. The pandemic forced everyone to go live online, and we embrace the opportunity to take credit unions from around the nation and join their leaders into one 10-part series with a graduation at the end and a group project that takes these classroom leadership topics and turns them into real world competencies. You've heard me on the Credit Union Leadership Podcast talk about an investment in leadership as one that pays dividends in your others. And so many credit union leaders will benefit. Not only themselves, but their teams will benefit from being better strategic thinkers. Their teams will benefit from being better coaches. Their teams are going to benefit from being more effective delegators. And so topics like team building, employee motivation, don't let your team learn this by mistake. Give them that proactive leadership training that they need. Send them to Vertex Live nationwide, a cohort that runs twice per year here at ServiStar Consulting.
And we're back with the Credit Union Leadership Podcast, answering questions on mentorship. The goal is to demystify mentorship by making the abstract define, giving you set systems and procedures to help validate and guide you through your mentorship journey. So, Albrecht, you know what I want to do right now?
Oh, I know what you want to do right now.
You do? All right. Well,
yeah.
Read my mind.
You want to grab a cup of Joe and read some Mo, to get all learned up on the credit union.
You know me too well.
Yeah.
I want to read up. I want to give the listeners a nugget that we teach in our very, very detailed, robust module on mentorship. And the nugget I want to talk about is, I think we even had a question of who should be my mentor. And everything anchors to this principle, and future questions we answer will anchor to this principle as well. And we're going to talk about the 3 types of mentors. And depending on where you are in your journey, your career journey, you may need one specific type of mentor over the others. So here we go. 3 types of mentors: sponsor, coach, guide. Sponsor, coach, guide. Albrecht, I think sponsor is near and dear to your heart based on how you answered the previous questions. Give us a little elevator pitch. How would you describe the sponsor type of mentor, and what would be a situation where one would need a sponsor mentor?
Well, Gallup's done some research on what engagement looks like in America. Is not good. And in their recent findings, 31% of people at work strongly agree that someone at work encourages their development. And so a sponsor is someone who can not only encourage that development, but also showcase it to the rest of the world. Maybe when you've got a voice that's unheard, a sponsor can take that and put it through a megaphone and blast it out to the rest of the organization and really help your perception. So let's say maybe people perceive you as being too deliberative. And maybe a sponsor can soften that up a little bit by saying, well, wait a second. Just because they're taking a little bit of time to answer a question, doesn't that actually show competency and consistency for, having that right answer all the time? And so
Yeah.
it's just kind of having that person in your corner that backs you up in the circles that count so that you do have a seat at the table via this mentor.
It's funny when you're talking about sponsor megaphone, the picture I had was a NASCAR driver. Your mentor is the NASCAR driver, and their car and their suit is just your name and your face all over it. They're giving opportunities for people to see you and what you do. What would be give me an example or just a hypothetical. If I am developing, whether I'm a leader, whether I'm an individual contributor, when would I need a sponsor mentor?
When maybe things have gone wrong. Let's say you've been passed up for promotion after promotion. You're kind of frustrated as to why. And maybe the organization doesn't perceive you the way that you perceive yourself. And so there's probably some clarification that needs to happen where first and foremost, maybe I need to adjust how I am being perceived by how I behave. But second, and most importantly, with the sponsor mentorship, maybe they can get ahead of some of this course correction that has been created by maybe the fact that I've worked at the credit union for 20 years and people remember 17-year-old Scott and not 37-year-old Scott. And those are two different Scotts. And yet, 17-year-old was standing on top of the bar getting shots ordered for everybody. And people still remember that. And so they still kind of typecast me as not responsible, not mature, but 20 years is a long time. And now I'm ready to take that next step. It's kind of getting out from maybe an image that's been cast about you, probably by you. That you're trying to mature out of or grow out of through this sponsorship.
Man, applying it to my life, Mike Neal, our chief learning officer and founder of ServiStar, I would say he was a sponsor mentor for me for a while, where he was putting my name in the ring to be considered for ServiStar and then finding opportunities to help me develop that ServiStar in our movement. So I'm able to really apply that. So now we move from sponsor to the coach mentor. And the coach mentor, there's some similarities to coaching for maximum performance that we teach on. This is someone that is here to focus on the nitty gritty and get you better, refine how you do these behaviors so you can get to the outcomes you want. And what I said earlier in this episode is, Albrecht, I think of you as a mentoring, specifically in this coaching realm. You've helped me become a much better speaker, much better at understanding our material and how to present it to people. And I think it's because of 2 to 3 things I'm thinking instantly. Was I would send recordings to you of my videos and you would take time and we'd watch the tape together and you'd say, this is good. You caught me doing it right. But you'd also say, oh, this could have been more impactful if you said it this way, or, oh, you said, here, let's focus on our presentation where you sound confident. That was one thing you did. The second thing you did to coach me was you said, hey, as you think of stories, create this OneNote and have the stories associated with different modules so you can instantly call back to these. And these were methods that helped me get better, helped me recall faster in the moment when I'm talking to people. I want to transition now to the third type of mentor, the guide. Albrecht, are you ready, or is there something you wanted to say?
I'm excited. These are nuggets, and I'm just thinking about sweet and sour sauce right now. So let's go to the guide.
Oh man, Polynesian. All right, the guide mentor. Albrecht, give us the lowdown. What is a guide mentor? How is it different from sponsor and coach?
I've been here before. Hey, don't step in that hole. You'll trip. Hey, over there's barbed wire. You're going to get caught. Hey, don't touch that. That's poison ivy. So basically, a guide is usually someone who's already kind of sherped their way up the mountain, and they're calling down to someone in the same path saying, there's a rattlesnake in them bushes.
Okay.
And I
Okay, so
know
this would
because
be
I lost my leg because of the venom and I tried to suck it out. So it's like, hey, don't suck like I did. Listen, learn from my mistakes. Don't burn your hand. I got scars. How about you get to
yeah.
the top of the mountain without the scars? And so it's that uh it's that person, that Sherpa, if you will, guiding you up the path of leadership.
And that reminds a quote that my parents always said to me growing up that I latched on. They said, find someone you want to be like and follow them around and ask them a bunch of questions. And what I'm hearing from you is, hey, find someone that you want to be like at work. Find someone that's in the job that you want and say, hey, I want you to mentor me and tell me, how did you get here? Or where's that snake? So I make sure that I can step on it and start off on a better foot and not cut it off. Look at that joke. All right. So
Nice. Oh man, I like that. I like that.
yeah. So we'll end off right there. All right. We've got the 3 types of mentors: sponsor, coach, and guide. Now let's go into the next question. All right. So you probably already seen the questions we answered were anchored to this principle, but also the next question we answer will be anchored to this principle. So let's take it away to round 2 of office hours.
Office hours, round 2.
Office hours.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
And we're back. We're answering questions from listeners, from participants in our Vertex, emerging leaders, service sales, all the courses we have. We've compiled these questions, and we've got another one that I think is really good, and you'll really see how we hone this into the principles that we just taught. So, Ryan, take it away. What's that other question?
All right, our final question. What should I learn from a mentor?
Albrecht?
Well, that depends. But let me tell you what I would want to learn. Sometimes we walk through life blindfolded and we say ignorance is bliss. And you know what? Knowledge is power, and with great power comes great responsibility. But I think being a learned mentee is a great question. It's a great place to start. So bravo to whoever asked this question. I think you really should be clear about what you want to learn in your mentorship. I think you should be really clear with your mentor that the purpose of this mentorship is to learn A, B, and C. And you're hoping that it's a good partnership and pair. And it should be mutually exclusive, meaning I also can teach you some things. I'm hoping to teach you this, and that, or give you some purview to some of the things that are happening day in, day out on the boots on the ground front lines. And so it should be a two-way partnership. It should be a win-win-win. And so the best way to do that is to not go into a vague mentorship with no ending, but have a start date, have an agenda, come up with the agenda, and come up with maybe 3 or 2 action steps that you want to maybe progress in as a result of this mentorship. You attack a mentorship like this, your mentor is going to have so much more firepower to be able to have a meaningful conversation with you versus just connecting with you, checking in with you. That's not very valuable to either you or the mentor.
And it feels like a waste of time. And then the mentor goes, oh boy, here we go again. And it's just like, and then you're like, you might be excited, but you might get a little bored of it after a while too. So I love what you said. Have a clear start and end date. Say what you want to get out of it. Which actually, I have a great thing for you to give us an acronym for if you're ready for game time.
Yeah. Let's do this. Yeah.
All right.
Game time.
Albrecht acronym.
And we're at Albrecht acronym. So Albrecht, usually what I do is I give you a word on the spot and you have to think about it and come up with an acronym that ties back to the ServiStar principles. Well, I think I'm giving you a pretty easy one. I want to give you SMART. Why? Because what you just said, when you come to a mentor and you say, this is what I want to learn, it should follow the SMART method. So break down the Albrecht acronym for the SMART method.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna add to it because it is so easy. I'm gonna make it wicked smart. Okay, wicked smart. So
Wicked. All right.
W, we, incorporate, C, company, K, knowledge,
Okay.
empowering, D, development.
You just defied gravity. Now,
And we do that with SMART goals, which is specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-limited. SMART, wicked smart, Wicked smart.
Taking
man.
wicked smart, Albrecht, tell me, what does taking this SMART method into mentorship look like? Give me an example of how you've used it, how you've seen someone use this SMART method for mentorship.
Yeah, mentorship was a big thing at Baxter Credit Union, and there's a lot of leaders that were open to having mentors and mentees. And one of the opportunities that I had was to partner with our Chief Human Resource Officers, Lisa Barron. I remember distinctly, I knocked on her door and I said, "Hey, Lisa, would you be open to a mentorship?" And she said, "Well, it depends. What would you want to accomplish in the time that we spent together?" And I was kind of thrown off by that question because I didn't listen to the Credit Union Leadership podcast, and I definitely didn't listen to this episode because we're just talking about it now. But it was enough of a throw off that I'd like to maybe prepare you to not have that same kind of reaction to someone asking for a mentorship. Listen, it's a vulnerable state to ask someone to partner with you in that way. And so go with the game plan. What specifically do you want to learn? And how can you measure and track your progress towards it? Maybe you want to learn more about operations, and one of the assignments is to go and read a Lean Six Sigma handbook. And so you do that, and that's kind of a measurable. Hey, we took a step towards operations. You now know Lean Six Sigma. Maybe the next step is you get a white belt. You can do that online for free. And so now we've got another step towards your operational excellence path and development. And maybe eventually we have you run with me a project. We do a Kaizen project together. Okay, that's another step. And so it's got to be specific. It's got to be measurable. It's got to be action oriented, meaning we can't just talk about what we want to do when we grow up. They're going to give you homework assignments. And here's a key. Here's a hot tip for you. If your mentor, who you've asked to put time on the calendar and asked to develop and invest in you, says go read a book, go read the book. If your mentor recommends listening to the Credit Union Leadership podcast, listen to all the episodes twice. If your mentor says, "Hey, there's this new blog article that just came out. It kind of reminds me of what we're talking about today." Go do the homework of the mentorship. Treat mentorships like a college experience. You go with, "Hey, I want to learn about X." And they're the teacher, they're the prof. And they say, "You know what? Cool. Go read this thing. Go listen to this thing and come back and let's talk about it." Do your homework. It is kind of like college at work. And it's a great way to kind of work on you getting better as a human being. Ed Filene has this great quote that I want to use here. Education is at war against ignorance. And I started off today's Q&A talking about ignorance is bliss, but it's not blissful because you don't know what you don't know. And that's really where that mentorship helps you out.
Yeah. So action-oriented, huge. Keep unpacking it to me. R&T. All right.
Yeah,
so realistic.
well, realize
like?
that R&T are there. So realistic, mentors might not have a whole lot of time to, debrief with you on the whole book. So maybe it's a realistic expectation to go over the summary with them in the next step. And then time limited. Maybe it's, hey, let's read this book in the next 2 months and let's talk about it again in Q3. And so realistic and time limited kind of rounds out that SMART acronym.
Yeah, man, really good stuff. And yeah, time bound. That's what we're doing with our little book club right now. I think we're going to meet either in September or October for.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Dude. We're ripping the pages out.
Yeah, ripping it. And that's my wallpaper. It's so good.
That's it, man.
Well, guys, this is the Credit Union Leadership Podcast. We've demystified mentorships. We told you what to look for in a mentor, sponsor, coach, guide. We've talked about, all right, who do you choose as a mentor? We've talked about what to look for in a mentor. And we've also talked about what you should aim to learn and using the SMART method. You got a ton out of this. And guys, if you've got any questions, you know what to do. Submit questions through email or through recording your voice. Reach out to us. We want to be a part of your journey. We want to equip and inspire current and aspiring leaders in our movement. Till next time, we'll see you.
Have a meaningful day.
Interested in submitting a question to the Credit Union Leadership Podcast, we want to hear from you. Go in our show notes. We have a link over there. And in that link, it's going to take you to two options. You can submit a question written out through email, or you can submit an audio recording through SpeakPipe. We make it super easy. Go to the link in the show notes, click audio recording. Once you click audio recording, it's going to take you straight to a website where you just press the record button. You've got 90 seconds to submit a question or submit you catching doing somebody do it right. and then you just type in your name and email address, and that's it. It comes straight to us, and we'll take it from there. So you don't need to download anything. You don't need to get any new software. You just go to this website, press record, and click submit, and we're good to go. So go to the link in the show notes. Click if you want to submit a question written out or through audio, and we'll take it from there. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next time.
An investment in leadership is one that pays dividends in your others. I'm Scott Albrecht, guest on the Credit Union Leadership Podcast and Vice President of Learning and Development. And man, oh man, our upcoming Emerging Leaders course is something that I didn't get as a department manager over several departments in the credit union movement. And the average manager in America doesn't go to manager training until they've been a manager for 10 years on average. We send the average teller to 2 to 3 weeks of teller training. And yet, as a manager, we just give them the keys to the Jeep and we tell them not to break it. Drive it like you stole it. Maybe even prayers and our best thoughts are with you, but no management training. And so ServiStar Consulting is here to fill that void with our Emerging Leaders class, where your talent will get topics like effective mentorship, building trust, coaching for performance, leadership hacks, and many more. Join us at our next upcoming cohort. We've got 2 that launch every year. We're so excited about having your talent at the next Emerging Leaders cohort.